Hello, everyone. I wanted to put a brief mention in here for Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's free for one, and that's really great when you're first starting out. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or from your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership, and that's really great. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So check it out. Download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm, that's F as in Frank, M as in Mary, to get started. Now on to the show.
Good morning, folks. Snowing here in Pennsylvania, getting more snow today. I am so tired of snow. I can tell you honestly, I am just had it with it. I'm so ready for spring at this point. I have some stories to tell you. I'm trying to think. There's so many things that happened in the house that I'm living in now when we first moved in. I moved in about 2013, almost like about halfway through. And I think it was in August we moved in. And it's been absolutely crazy living here. This has been a really interesting house. It's a property that kind of sits up. It seems foresty and kind of mountainous and back in, yet it's still kind of in town. And it's a really cool, like the property's cool, the yard's cool, there's all these trees, and it's like really spooky. Like my yard is so spooky at night. We get deer and bear and all kinds of stuff that come in. And there's like this garage that's almost like a whole other house. It's really neat. It's like a two-floor garage, sits outside. Like you have to go quite a ways to get to it. And then in back of that, we have parking and stuff like that. And then we've got parking all through the property and stuff. It's not massive. I'm probably making it sound like it's massive, but it's pretty big. It's probably about 3/4 of an acre in total, I would say, but it's just really neat the way it's set up. It has a really neat, just a really neat, like, way that it's set up and everything. So we moved in about, I think it was August. It might have been April. I can't remember if it was the beginning of the summer or the end of the summer. But as soon as we moved in, I was away one night and the kids were home. They were in the house and they called me hysterical. And they said that the cupboards were banging in the kitchen. So I was like, oh, come on. Like it seems like every place we live, but it's also, they're really drawn to certain people. I think things follow people, or they're drawn to people. They might just be like connected to you or whatever. But I had been up at the house before we moved in, and it was really dark when I came up here. And I remember looking in the windows, and you could just feel something. Like it was crazy. We have a cemetery right down the road, so it's actually a slave. It's a slave road for when not to use that term, but that's what they call it here. It's a road that like the copperheads would come up where they would take the slaves and they would house them and protect them up here and keep them safe. And then copperheads would come up through here and they would look for them, and sometimes things would go wrong. So they've got this cemetery down the road that it's like, people that were slaves and stuff that were killed. So it's pretty crazy. But we've had a Bigfoot sighting up on the ridge up here. I don't want to give the name of the road, but it's the name of the road, and then it's called Ridge. And there was a Bigfoot sighting up there. And I was just listening to another channel the other day, and the one guy that's a hunter, he hunts like cryptids and stuff. He said that he has never had more encounters in his life than in Pennsylvania. And I was like, great, because we grew up here, we feel safe, and now you don't really feel so safe. So it's kind of like that kind of stinks. But anyway, so moved into the house, and we had some, like the cupboards were moving around, and this was when I was out of the house. So I came rushing home, and they were all the kids, like they were like, we had teenagers, like they were older, and stuff like that, people that we were letting stay with us and things like that. My daughter's boyfriend, and they were all like, they all heard it, they all saw it. They were like, Mom, they were banging back and forth, and I thought, well, my first reaction was that we had just moved in and we were unsettling the spirits that were here. So it was, I just kind of knew that they weren't used to us yet. They didn't know us, and that's kind of what was going on. Now, there's going to be a lot here because I'm not going to tell everything today, but I'll get into some of the stories. And I can't really remember the order of everything exactly, but I'm just going to touch on some things that have happened. Then we just got feelings like you were in the house, and when you're an empath or you have any kind of psychic ability or anything, you can feel things. And the kids started like hearing voices. They would see shadows moving, things like that. And in Matt and my room, we had I guess the one night he woke up and he said that he saw like this shadow moving around our room. And he said it was almost like a not a grim reaper, but it was a hooded figure is what he told me. And he said he felt it. He saw it. Like he was like watching this thing move around. And then there was a night we were together talking in the bedroom, and we saw the right outside of our bedroom is the hallway. And on either side of our bedroom is the one side is the bathroom from the door, and on the other side of the door is one of my daughter's bedrooms. And we were sitting there talking, and all of a sudden we see this, like somebody had come from the bathroom and walked over to my daughter's bedroom, and we knew nobody was there to do this, like in that area to do this. So we got up immediately, walked over to the bedroom, opened the door. The bathroom light was off, which is, would be normal if somebody was coming out of the bathroom. But then we went right to my daughter's bedroom, and there was nobody there. It was empty. And our son down the hall said he wasn't anywhere around. So we were like, okay, that was just like, wow. Then there was another night that Matt woke up and he stared. I had this bouquet of flowers that was on my dresser, and he woke up and he said that the flowers literally had turned into like a gargoyle, and they were sitting there, and they were a creature. And then he even did the like double take, rubbing his eyes, making sure he wasn't seeing things. He knew he was awake. He said the flowers literally turned into something, and then it went away. And they were dried flowers that had died, and I just kind of kept them. He had surprised me with them for my birthday, and they were really pretty, so I kind of let them dry and just stay in the vase, dumped out the water, and they were just kind of, some people save dried flowers, and I just thought they were kind of pretty. And so he took the flowers out of that room that night, and he put them over into the den area, and I still actually have them, but he didn't want them in the bedroom. It just really freaked him out. And I'm going to tell you a funny story about what Matt did too. That was really funny. I'll add that in here now because it was really just not right. He's not somebody that is accident prone in any way. He's really together, really cool kind of dude, really put together, and just, everybody goes to him to fix everything or problem solving. They come to me and Matt both. Like they're just always, Matt's like this person that you just think of just doesn't have flaws in a way, but he does. I mean, but it's just like, when it comes to like, his movements, things like that, everything's very methodical, and just, he's just really careful with stuff. And this is funny, I'm adding this right now, but so he came, I had, for whatever reason, I left a window cracked in the kitchen one night. I think what happened was I was cooking something and there was smoke, so I cracked the window. This window didn't have a screen in it. So we fell asleep with the window cracked. It was just cracked a little bit. It wasn't much at all. And my son and I, we had, sorry about that, I bumped the table. We had a couch in the kitchen. We like to put furniture in the kitchen because I kind of came up with the idea that, why do we're always in the kitchen. Everybody congregates in the kitchen. We sit out there, we talk. So we put a TV out there. We put like furniture out there, some kitchen chairs, but we kind of use the other furniture to also eat with too. Like it's just a really nice, comfortable arrangement. So we fell asleep in the couch in the kitchen. My son and I, he was smaller, and he was like about 10, but we just passed out. We passed out in the kitchen watching something, and Matt was working at the time. And so we cracked this window, and I woke up and I thought, oh my gosh, I forgot to shut the window. So I shut the window and I didn't think anything of it. Well, apparently a bat got in the house when this happened. He must have been attached to the curtain or something, like come in and gotten through the curtain, because there was a curtain up over where the crack was. And bats are like that though, man. They get in no matter. They just get in. It's like these things are crazy. Matt has some really funny bat stories. He's like, we call him Bat, like Matt Man or Batman, because he just like bats are attracted to him. So this thing must have been flying around the house while we were sleeping, which doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies at all. That's just like not cool that this bat was flying around the house while we were sleeping, and that's the only thing I can think of. The only way it could have gotten in, because we've never had bats in here any other time. Although we've had crows and birds and everything get in through the basement, but that's a whole other story. So, so he went upstairs. He gets home and he goes upstairs. I close the window. He gets home, goes upstairs, and he's getting ready. He's getting undressed because he takes showers after work because he gets all sweaty at work. And he's getting all undressed, and he's like stretching, and he's doing all this stuff to kind of, he's kind of stretching his body out, and he's like standing in front of my dresser, and it's like a tall dresser with a bunch of drawers. And there's this little gargoyle looking little creature sitting on the end of the dresser. And he says he's looking at it and he's thinking, oh, Tracy must have gotten like a new knickknack or something. That thing's crazy looking. And he's looking at it and he's like stretching. He's doing all this stuff, standing right in front of it, like just kind of doing all this stuff, kind of looking at it, thinking it's cool. And then he gets done stretching and he bends down and he looks really closely at it. And he's like, what is that? And all of a sudden its wings spread open, and he said it just was like, yeah, and just like he like jumped at him, but it didn't touch him, and it just started flying around the room. Tristan and I are downstairs in the kitchen, and all we hear is this huge crash. And we're like, what is going on? Then we hear like him saying all this stuff, and then he gets up, and then he runs into the door, and we hear this huge crash again. So not only is there one crash, but there's two crashes, and this isn't Matt at all. He's just not that uncool to do this, and that's kind of a joke. But so he apparently, when the bat spread its wings, he ran to the door, and he fell because, oh, sorry, my phone just went off. I'm sorry about that. I have a doctor's appointment today, so I have to remind myself I just do that. So he smashes into the door on his way out, trying to run out the door, because he smashes into the part, that where the latch is and stuff, that real skinny part, hits him right in the head, almost knocks him out. He crashes to the floor. Then because he did that, he moved the door. So when he gets back up, he goes to run back out, but the door's kind of shut now. So he crashes into the door again, and the bat's flying around the room, and he's just screaming. We're downstairs thinking, what in God's name is going on upstairs? This is not Matt. Something is going on. So we're like, what is going on? So we run, up to the bottom of the steps, yelling up to him, and he's running down. He's like, there's a bat in my room. And I'm like, oh my gosh, so we had to, like, I literally had to get suited up and go in there first. That's how afraid of this thing he was. And I was laughing. I was like, this just isn't right. I mean, I think we got helmets on, and we had like all these weapons and things around us. We get in this bedroom, and this bat, we look all over the bedroom for this bat. We can't find it anywhere, of course, This thing is laying on the floor underneath his desk for his computer, laying on the floor with its wings spread out. I didn't even know bats did that. I thought they always went somewhere high or would hide in curtains or be up, kind of. This thing was actually hiding on the actual floor. So if you guys ever get a bat in your house, make sure you look on the floor, because they do that. But we did catch it. We put a little bowl thing over it, started squealing, and we got it. We kind of put something flat underneath the bowl, got it in there, and we let it go. We took it outside and let it go. We don't kill things. We're not killers. So unless now you mess with my family or something, that's a different story. But we're very compassionate with animals and creatures and stuff, unless they do us harm. Like if I have a spider on me biting me, I'm going to kill it. But so that was a funny story for me. It was really funny for us, considering it was Matt. So the flower story with the gargoyle reminded me of that. That's why I wanted to tell you. So we had that happen with the gargoyle, or the flowers turning into that. Then there was a night when my daughter had she had an experience where she got really sick. Something was really wrong. She got really sick, and something was going through her, like a flu or something. And she had a fever and everything. And she was laying in her bed, and she said she literally woke up, and there was this demon standing right at her bed. It was kneeling at her bed, and it was really demonic looking and really like hostile. And she said that all she could think to do with it was say, "Hey, you're beautiful." And she said the demon was like all gnarly and looking at her. And as soon as she said it was beautiful, it was a female. She said that the demon turned it, like, kind of the face went like shocked, and then it like got all beautiful, like the actual she felt that it was the actual state of the demon, that's what it really looked like, and it was trying to present itself looking really scary. So when she told it was beautiful, the demon turned into this really beautiful woman, but she still could tell it was a demon, but it was really beautiful, and it just disappeared. And that was something. She said that in that room that she always felt that a wolf was standing outside of her room, and it would call to her. It would want her to come outside, and she wouldn't do it because she had her whole bedroom, the one whole wall was like French doors. It was all glass, and so we had to put these huge black privacy curtains up to cover it. But she could feel something on the other side of the curtains, and she said she always felt that it was wolf-like. And she's like a really big psychic. She's got like really strong, psychic abilities and empathic stuff, and things that, just she picks up on stuff just like I do. I just literally, you guys, I had another vision. I don't know if you guys know about my visions. I get visions, and I get psychic, things tell me stuff. Like I think it's God. I think God tells me. I can show you this. You know what you do? Message me here, and I will send me your email address if it's not included in the message, but it should be. And I will message you back the proof. I can show you some of the stuff that I've done in the last few months. One was my sister was moving. I had a dream she was moving. This was before she planned on moving. She didn't even meet the guy yet. And I told her that I was told that I was supposed to call her, check on her, and make sure she was okay, that she was going to be moving. And she said she was, she didn't tell me anything then. She didn't respond. And then she moved 6 weeks later. She met a guy online and moved in with him pretty quick. And the other one was my sister passing away. I had a vision. I woke up one day and I started getting really shaky inside, feeling that my sister was going to die. Or I didn't know if she was going to die. I didn't know what was wrong. I thought something was really wrong. I was really trembly inside, and I kept feeling it was either one of my sisters. I messaged my dad, told him something was wrong with one of them. I couldn't figure out which one. I thought it was the one, and it was the one that actually ended up dying. And he said to check on him, and I checked on the one. Was in the process of getting the other's phone number because she had changed her number. And the night I was thinking about her, telling her I wanted to tell her I loved her. The next day I woke up and everybody was messaging me that she died. So I have the messages about 3 days before she died that shows that I knew something was wrong. I saw a vision of the huge snowstorm that hit here. I saw that when I was taking a shower, and I told the family about that. Rush Limbaugh dying. That was another one. About 10 days ago, 11 days ago, I messaged Matt and said, I just heard the announcement in my head that Rush Limbaugh died. And he said, well, he's been sick. I said, I know he's been sick for a while, but this is something like he's going to die soon. And he died yesterday. So I have the stuff that happens to me, and that's why, and I of course, you pass it down to your children sometimes. And, Chandler she's got, my one daughter, she's got a really big psychic ability. I think they all do, especially my daughters. So those are a couple of the stories that I wanted to get into today. The other thing I wanted to do, there's somebody that wrote me some scary stories that she has had encounters with. She's from the Ukraine. So I wanted to read those to you and let you guys hear some of this stuff. It's pretty crazy. Hang on a second. I'm going to see if I can get in here. If this disconnects, I will start a part 2. Just look for part 2 on here. I don't know how this is going to pull up for sure. So like I said, just look for part 2 and we can go from there. So I think it should be okay. Hang on a second. Give me a second here. Wish I could talk to you while I was doing this, but I can't. Okay, let me see. Let's be okay for now. I don't want to use her name. She doesn't want me to give her name. For a lot of people are like that. They just don't want you to do that. Now, I did edit some of this because when she wrote me, it was she has obviously a Russian or Ukraine accent. She's from the Ukraine, and she had kind of like a little bit of an accent in her writing. So I just edited it to sound more Americanized, but she has great English. It just just kind of touched it up a little bit, but I didn't actually change any of the context of her stories in any way. So here we go. She says, my stories all happened in the place where I grew up, in Ukraine, and it kept happening till 1999, all the way till I finished my high school. All stories are related to the house I grew up in, so I think I need to start by telling more about the place. It's a 2-story building with 6 2-bedroom units and 2 3-bedroom condos in it. Basically, 4 families live on each floor. It was school housing, so families were teachers and their kids mostly, plus an old widow whose husband built the house. Building itself is cement and concrete blocks. It also had basement, which is a couple quarters with lots of rooms, so families can save up some canned fruits and pickled vegetables for winter. Around house, small portions to lend were split between families. Fruits and vegetables were grown. Some people had goats, cattle and pigs, chicken and geese. Some had ducks. Now I think I'm ready to start my stories. It's really cool that they share their food and stuff. Americans, we're pretty good with this stuff, but it's neat. One of my friends used to live across from me. Even though she was a couple of years younger, she was taller and stronger than me. but she's also a scaredy cat. One evening, I finally talked her into leaving house to watch the stars with me, to sit on a bench that was a little away from the house. In front of us was the school, maybe around half-mile away. Then the village road, and after, similar to ours, condo that belonged to the railroad workers. We were sitting on the bench laughing about planes, satellites, or aliens flying over us in the sky when a guy rode out on a motorbike of the other condo, made a turn on the road, and went on his way. Now he's gone, but his light that first blinded us stayed next to us. Only it looked somewhat different. It stood a bit away from the school, somewhat on the right of us, in a completely different spot than it was in when it first blinded us, and it looked oval, somewhat similar to a white fluffy dandelion, only made out of light and not really bright. While looking at it, I kept opening and closing my eyes, rubbing them, and thought how to ask my scaredy cat friend about it. Hang on a second. I have to scroll up here. Without freaking her out when she grabbed my hand and yelled my name and asked, "Are you seeing this?" She was pointing out towards the light. Trying to sound as calmly as I could, I asked slowly, "Can you tell me what you are looking at?" She grabbed my hand, literally lifting me in the air, and started running as fast as she could, dragging me behind. By the time we stopped and looked behind us, it was gone. She never could clearly describe what she saw that evening, and after a couple of days, couldn't recall the evening at all. But nevertheless, I don't recall her watching the stars with me ever again. Her stories get better and better. She sent me 4 so far. This is the next one. I'll read the next one, and then I'm going to save a couple for the next podcast. The first scary thing I remember from that house, I'm still a first grader. Me, my mom, and sister just moved into one of those 3-bedroom condos. At the beginning, it was just us, but I remember shortly after this, 2 new teachers moved into the 3rd bedroom. But at that time, it was just 3 of us. One of the bedrooms had built-in closets in the wall that was in between with the other bedroom. It was this in-between area with just doors and shelves there. One day my sister runs out of that bedroom and yells, "Come look with me." I followed her, and we observed the closet open on top and heavy, she says, synthetic fur coat hanging. I'm gonna guess it might be a fox fur coat. Not sure. The bottom part of the coat was moving up slowly for about 30 to 40 degrees, holding still, then going down slowly. So it was lifting up, lifting back down slowly, lifting up, lifting back down, like somebody was moving it. After watching it doing this for a few times, we started to yell, "Mom, Mommy." I think at that time my mom was still into moving or maybe occupied with something else. After coming in and giving a short look, she said, "Don't worry, girls, it must be the wind," and left quickly. I'm standing there speechless, not remembering the wind being outside. The window is locked, and on the other side of that wall is the other bedroom. Where is this wind coming from? She capitalizes this. My sister, on the other hand, who is a 2nd grader and a scientist by nature and future doctor, took her time to look for that wind source. Finally, in one of the corners on the opposite wall, from the outside, she yelled, "Oh yeah, there's wind," kind of mockingly. Where? I asked her in disbelief. Where did she find wind inside that room? Was she sleepwalking by any chance? And she replied, "Just put your face close to the corner over here." When I did that, cold wind blew in my face. It was strong enough for me to feel my hair waving in it a bit. From then on, whatever happened in that house, we would look at each other with my sister, and we would laugh and say, "Must be the wind." Nothing could have justified what was happening with that coat, not even the minimal amount of wind coming in from the corner across the room. That was a cute story. She has a couple more that are pretty good. They get better. So apparently she's had quite a few encounters, just like our family has. We've had some real doozies here. So that's what I have for you today. And I'm kind of excited. I have a guy I'm going to be interviewing on Friday from England, and he's got some sleep paralysis stories. And I don't know if you know about the history of sleep paralysis, but it's almost like a succubus or an incubus or a hag, that it's a demonic entity that's supposed to present itself to us or to people, and that's what they think, where they think that comes from. So that should be interesting. So I will have that on. I like to post once a week, or maybe usually about once a week. I don't like to overdo it too much because I like it to be a little more special than that. But I will be talking to you guys soon. And stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe and like. It really helps me to know that you're liking and enjoying the stories, and it just helps me build the channel, you guys. We really need these likes and subscribe buttons to be hit, because it just really helps out a lot. It really supports people and their channels. So it would be great if you would do that. You guys have a wonderful day. I will be talking to you soon. Take care of yourself, and God bless you, and stay safe.